Now we also talk about one other thing that we have to deal with, and that has to do with the tendency for a lot of these car accidents to have consequences for down the road. One of the other things that happens, and I'll use this black pen to represent this. If we think about the nerves that are free nerve endings and things of sensitivity, there's so many nerves that go into a normal, your body has to know if a muscle's being pulled and things like that. All right. What do you think the body does in this area? Do you think it has more nerves or less nerves in that area? Huh, you would guess fewer, wouldn't you? But you know the answer is no. The body will actually grow more nerves. You know how many more nerves there are? We're talking the free nerve endings, the fibers that feel pain. Up to as many as 4 times. Now, because how many of you have talked or known of someone, I can't tell you how many people, they say, I wasn't having any problem until I got this accident or some, and it doesn't even have to be a car accident, right? It could be a trauma. It could be something happened to somebody. And from that point on, they've had chronic problems in that area. A lot of times they never got this soft tissue never got healed properly. Maybe they didn't know about chiropractic. They never went to a chiropractor. They didn't act with it. Or the process of stretching this, do you think it feels good to your body or not? If it's starting to grow these collagen fibers and it's kind of like that, to actually stretch it, the body will usually talk back, right? It won't want to be stretched, but it needs to be functional, right? But as many as 4 times the nerve endings go into here. Now, why would the body put all those nerve fibers there?
It's trying to heal itself.
Trying to get it to regenerate.
Actually, the nerves tell the brain, don't move it.
I think that's, see, and it's not that these other answers are wrong. I think they're probably true, but I think it is that, this is just, I'm kind of guessing too, right? So I don't know the answer exactly, but we know that 4 times the nerve ending, and so I think the body knows that there's a vulnerable spot. And so that the body has to know if this muscle then gets stretched, this is an early warning system, right? It will detect the stretch sooner now because that area can't absorb that, this sort of thing anymore. It doesn't have the same resiliency. So it has to have, and it functions then, it sends a signal to the brain. And we have to talk about chiropractic philosophy says that all healing comes from above down, inside out. The brain is integral to these sorts of things because all these signals, and it's like the body needs to send signals up to the brain then interprets and has to protect this area so it doesn't injure that or have recurrent problems and load that too much to fail, all right? So I think that's really, but the reality then, what do we deal with? Well, in my practice then, I do see people who have recurring and ongoing pain after a trauma. Now, is that discouraging? Yeah, it's discouraging. But when we start to realize, oh, wait a minute, this is part of God's protection of my body, that you say, I bear in my body the reminder that something bad happened to me. And yet I'm alive, I'm functioning, and that my body knows that it's got to take care of this area. And so that's something, we almost have to reframe it so that we can, instead of resenting it, because that's the problem, is if this happens to you and you now hurt in an area that used to be fine, every time you try to do something that you used to enjoy, you have that reminder, that can start playing with your brain. So part of my job is to reframe this for you. Now, I would love to make the pain go away, and we'll do everything possible, and there's lots of things that can be done. The first thing is to make sure that you get the proper chiropractic care and work on this, and you keep doing your stretching, keep doing your traction. There's stuff that can be done that will keep this functional, right? But if you do then hurt in an area that you didn't before, and you do now, if you understand there's some value to your body for that, then you say, okay, then I can deal with that, and maybe that's important. And if that area does start to hurt, then it should be like a warning signal to me that we better pay attention to it. And sometimes I think about the story of these 2 boys that were walking on the railroad track. Now, we shouldn't walk on the railroad track, right? But has anyone ever tried to walk on a railroad track? Now, I'm not advising this.
No, not 6 years old. I used to
Okay,
all the time.
so if these 2 boys were playing and they were, the railroad tracks are not level. They have okay. So they were walking, and man, they would fall like that. Well, one of the things, so they were trying that, they just wanted to go longer though. And so they were standing one on one rail and one on the other. And what they decided to do is to say, let's hold hands and let's see what happens. What do you think they discovered?
They balance each other.
They balance themselves. Do you realize those boys could walk on those rails as long as they held hands and walked together? You understand? It transformed things for them. So I guess one of the challenges that I want to inspire you to take my hand, right? Because if you're trying to walk on that rail by yourself and you're feeling the pain and you're discouraged